All right, I'm back. I have finished though. It was absolutely incredible, like beyond anything I could have ever expected from this very short arc, to the point that I think this is my second favorite arc of the entire series. Only second because of Marineford and how the emotional trauma and how much I cried during that arc. I don't think anything could ever top it. But that being said, this is Oda, so I will not hold firm to that stance. Oda is an absolute genius. I'm not convinced he's human because I love this plot so very much, and I'm not convinced a human could come up with it. God love Oda. God love him so very much for this arc and this series. Before I get into everything that happened, I do have two little things I want to talk about. The first being that I'm going to be reading a bunch of classics over the next couple weeks, just because the anime that I'm watching, Bungo Stray Dogs, all the characters are named after famous classic literature people. So one of said classics is going to be Crime and Punishment, a nearly 700-page Russian tome of a novel. And if you think I can't pronounce Japanese names, one of the Russian names I cannot pronounce so bad that I'm just calling him Marmalade in my head. So there's that. The reason I'm bringing that up is we're going to talk about it a little bit later as something comes up later in the series that relates back to one of the classics I'm going to be reading. And second of all, Oda knows this is a shonen, right? Because there's like graphic-ish torture scenes in this arc that I am convinced was probably part of a longer flashback section, and his editor was just like, no, we can't have this in a Shonen Jump magazine, so we're going to have to cut this down and put it in little sections of flashbacks. We're not showing all this. Yeah. And then one last thing. How the hell did the animators and his editors be able to do their job? Because they had to read this section of the arc to animate it and I'm sure edit it and do whatever they had to do. Because how'd they do that with their jaw just on the floor from that plot twist that happens? Like, I would have been shook. I wouldn't be able to do my job that day when that was revealed. I loved this arc so very much. All right, starting off with the actual plot of this arc, Luffy and his group are with the Bartolomeo and his Barto Luffy fan club when the seas get very treacherous and they're nearly capsized. There's a sea monster, and none of them are very good navigators, so they're all freaking out, thinking they're going to die. They're calling their grandmother. It's just like, Grandma says we should do this. Oh, Grandma also says to get the gum off the ship, we should do this. Oh, it came off. Yay, celebrate. That's not the issue. We're trying not to drown. And Luffy's just like, Nami, come save us, please, we're all going to die. Yet somehow they make it to the location of Zoe without drowning. It's a miracle that any of the people in this crew are still alive. We get a side cut to other characters, including Dragon, and him being informed that his group has made it back from Dressrosa with weapons of a special metal. We get a cut into Buggy and the cult of Buggy, and he's turned this all into a business plan. He's making so much money, but some of his giants have left the group for reasons, and then you get, I don't know how I feel about this, apparently the son of my beloved Whitebeard, who is going around slaughtering or destroying the rest of the remaining crew of the Whitebeard pirates, because he is the blood son, allegedly, and his mom says that he's entitled to Whitebeard's treasure, so he needs to go after Marco to get that. I can't remember the exact quote, but Whitebeard had basically said, like, as every pirate, something like that, is a son of the sea, and they're all his children, and I'm like, you do not do this to your brothers. I don't care if you're a blood relative, you don't threaten the Whitebeard pirate, so I'm very mad at this man, and I don't know how to feel about it. I don't think he's actually Whitebeard's son. I think it's a lie from the mother, but he's claiming to be, and he's spoiling the name of Whitebeard, and you can't do that to me. You cannot do that to me. When we get to Zoe, it's apparently on the back of a giant elephant, which I'm turning into a Terry Pratchett fan, so I like the idea of something being on top of an elephant. And so everyone's just like, well, how do we get up there? And the guy with the art fruit, what's his name? Kanjuro draws a dragon, salamander, snake, lizard, something. He's a very bad artist to carry them up. And this is where my mention of classics come back in. Because when they do reach the top, And the dragon, his name is Ryunosuke. I'm not going to say it correctly. But that is actually the name of one of the authors that I'm going to be reading, and it's a book called Rashomon, which takes place at a gate of a destroyed city. So that's a nice little possible reference. I'm not actually sure. Sadly, Kanjiro and Kinemon end up falling off said possible dragon's back and because a monkey fell on their face, so they're still down at the bottom and they couldn't wait for them to get up to the top. So Luffy and them go to investigate this destroyed city. Robin, the darling angel and scholar that she is sitting back for a second picking flowers, probably to study, and she's examining the architect and just been like, this village is thousands of years old, or 1,000 years old, and it was destroyed like 2 weeks ago. You can tell the remnants of this battle. What the hell is going on? Luffy is running off ahead of everybody, even though we've been told that this city is home of what are minks, essentially those animal human looking hybrids-ish that we've seen throughout the series. This is where they've all originated from. And they are apparently very hostile against invaders and humans. So they're very on guard, thinking they're about to be attacked. Luffy has run off to a sacred forest, which is not a good thing. The rest of the group are interacted with a dog-type person and a rabbit one. The rabbit named Carrot is attacking them, thinking that they're the enemies, only for the dog one to say, no, these are part of the Straw Hats, they're good, but I have to go stop Luffy before he gets in trouble. Hey, you group, meet us at this location, you'll find your corpse friend. And everyone's just freaking out. What do you mean our friend is a corpse? Did you kill them? Why are you wearing Nami's clothes? What have you done to her? And they're all freaking out. Robin is being very morbid and just being like, maybe did they cannibalize them? No, if they're a corpse, that probably rules out cannibalism. Can you not be morbid? Says Usopp, and it's a whole thing. In my head, because I seen a dog woman wearing Nami's clothes, not going to lie, my initial thought was Nami got turned into a dog and she has become very close to this group now, and I thought maybe time has passed differently on this island, like 100 years here is like a day out there or something like that, and that's, I don't know. I was very wrong, very, very wrong. Luffy goes to the sacred forest where the whale tree, where he's attacked by the guardians, and it's La's group who are trying to talk sense into the guardians, be like, no, he's a friend, he's not trying to attack, calm down. And they're like, it doesn't matter, he's invading, we have to attack. They use like lightning powers, which is does nothing to Luffy. I always love it when Luffy is attacked by lightning. I love it so much, just how it does not affect him. And then the dog woman, Wanda, shows up and settles everything down and explains that, all right, it's good, you can come with me. The other group, Luffy's group, are exploring the town some more when the elephant uses his trunk to splash water on his back, which makes perfect sense because elephants need to cool down, and this is how the city gets its water most days. It floods it like twice a day, and everything is elevated to be up above the size of the floodwater, and it's just good world building, and I love Oda. While Wanda is bringing Luffy back, she crosses path with, there's a cross, an X, up on a field, and we have like a brief flashback of that torture scene I mentioned earlier. But she continues, and eventually La teleports them over there because they thought she was about to attack Luffy, but again, everything's fine. They take them to where Chopper and Nami are. Nami is asleep on a sheep, a giant sheep, and she's just asleep there wearing the most beautiful dress I've ever seen in my life. And they're all excited. They're all reunited. Nami runs, hugs Luffy. She's in tears. She's crying, explaining that Sanji is gone, as is Caesar. But obviously, we're more upset about Sanji. There's a feast where we're also told that the reason they said that your corpse friend is at this location is because they were just referring to Brook, and that's the nickname that they've given him. Luffy's inquiring about what's been going on these past couple days, and they've explained that they just kind of got to start from the beginning to explain everything that's happened. And I love the actual structure and pacing of this story, because at first, we're just with Luffy. We don't know why they're on this island, and all of a sudden they're being hailed as saviors. Everyone is so friendly and welcoming and loving, and it's just like, you are part of our saviors crew. Welcome. Have a banquet, enjoy our love, we welcome you with open arms, even though we were led to believe that the minks hated humans, which apparently was false just in general. But we're still very lost on what happened. So then we get the first flashback, which actually takes place before Nami's group had showed up on the island, which is where Jack, a pirate working under Kaido, has attacked and savaged this village. Like, he showed up looking for a ninja from Wano, who Kinemon and Kanjiro were coming to Zou to meet up with. And he's asking where this ninja is, and nobody will give him up. They're not even give him up. They're like, there is no one here. We have no one from Wano. And you have in the present day, the people saying, like, what do you do when someone is threatening you and you do not have the answer to give them? When they are torturing you and destroying everything you love and you have nothing to give them other than they keep asking the same question. You give them the same answer. And because they don't like it, they don't accept it, you just continue to be tortured. This man, Jack, slaughtered everybody. The dog king of this island showed up and is just like, search all you want. If you find him, you can have my life. He is not here. Just stop destroying our ancient city. Stop slaughtering our people. You can't do this. We don't have him here. We're not sheltering him. And they just keep attacking. Between the Dog King and the Cat King, who are in a cycle here on the island of rulers, the Minks are fighting back against Jack's forces with everything they have. And they have the upper hand a couple times, but for 5 days it just goes on when Jack's forces unleash a poison gas that Caesar had originally created, and it just leaves everyone vulnerable. They can't fight. And then it's just torture scene after torture scene in this flashback. They're being crucified. They are having limbs chopped off. They're slaughtering people one by one. And the same question, where is that samurai ninja from Wano? He's not here. We don't have him. Search the village. He's not here. And Jack does not stop. And it only ends when we get word that Luffy has defeated Doflamingo, and Jack needs to go to try to rescue him get him from the Marines. So that's why he leaves, and leaves a small skeleton crew who are still torturing and killing everybody and still searching for this ninja from Wano. Sanji and Nami and everyone in Chopper, Caesar, all show up and on the island at this point. And when they get there, they are attacked by Jack's crew, so they easily take care of the skeleton crew that's left, only to come upon the village and everyone's sick and dying of the poison, which Caesar admits is one of his creation. He takes in all the poison, disputes it. Wanda, the dog mink, had come and attacked, thinking they were with Jack, only for them to defend themselves and be like, no, we're here to help. Chopper is having none of any of this conflict. He's like, if we are going to save these people, we cannot waste a second. Get me to a hospital. Get me these ingredients. I'm a doctor. Trust me. Wanda is just like, you're really here to help us. And she's in tears. She's sobbing after all this that's happened. And Nami looks at her and is just like, we are not going to abandon anyone. Everything is going to be okay. And Wanda is in tears, crying that this is finally over. And she's like, I thought everyone was going to die. And they get everyone in. They're healing and being cured from poison. Chopper is treating everybody, and everything is okay again. So you can understand why the Straw Hats were treated as their saviors for literally saving this town when they arrived. Now, when Sanji, Nami, and everyone were running from Big Mom, they had accidentally let slip that they were going to Zou, where one of Big Mom's pirates is originally from. He's like the lion guy that we met in Fishman Island. And I'm just going to refer to him as the guy with the turtle fruit because I can't pronounce his name. Peckman? He's fine. The lion. I'll either say lion guy or guy with turtle fruit. So he is originally from Zou, so he has a way. I forget if it's a VV card or an eternal log. It wouldn't be an eternal log post because there's no log post, I don't think, to Zou. But regardless, he gets them to the island with every intention of capturing Caesar and taking the Straw Hats or killing the Straw Hats. He's also there with the Castle guy. They show up and he sees the destruction and he's furious because did the Straw Hats do this? How dare they do this to my home? Only for the people to be like, oh, welcome home, we missed you. No, the Straw Hats are our savior. They're the reason we were alive. Actually, Kaido's guy is the one who destroyed everything. And he goes to the Straw Hats This enemy pirate from Big Mom looks at them, collapses in tears, and thanks them for saving his home. God love this man. Then he says, listen, I'm still working for Big Mom. I'm going to take Caesar. The rest of you guys can go. I can't go against you after you saved my home. To which Castle guy's just like, no, emotional stuff's not getting in the way, and then shoots him a bunch of times by his castle fruit, which makes himself a castle, and he can have arms and guns and everything and cannons inside him. It's actually a really cool devil fruit. I want to see more of it. And then everyone is held hostage inside of him because he has a message for Sanji. Sanji is invited to a tea party where he's apparently going to get married to one of Big Mom's daughters because he is the third son of some very important family, Vinsmoke, who are apparently a family of, I don't know if they're assassins or criminal underworld. I'm thinking mafia vibes. I'm pretty sure mafia vibes. And Sanji's just like, no, not doing it. Get the hell away. I'm staying with my crew. To which they whisper some secret in his ear, and he's just like, how do you know that? And apparently whatever this secret is enough to get him to go, to have to deal with something. He gives Nami a message, writes a note saying, I'm going to meet a woman, but I will be back. And then he ends up knocking them out of the castle fruits ability to safety while holding Caesar at gunpoint to allow them to escape because he's like, my wanted poster said you gotta take me alive. I know what that means. I know who's pulling the strings. I'm assuming his father. I'm also assuming the woman he's gone to meet is either his mother or his sister or like a caregiver or whoever got him out of his original home in the north to get to the East Blue where we met him and crossed the red line thing because it was made very clear that that's going to be a hard journey to do, so he clearly had help. I'm assuming whoever helped him get away in the beginning. He had said he never meant to return, he didn't mean to lie to the crew, and he didn't expect his past to come back in this way. Also, I know I've been giving Sanji a very hard time with many things about his character and his treatment of women and all that. At one point, he had looked the castle guy in the eye and had said, Luffy is the man who will become the king of the pirates with such firm and confidence and love, and I'm just like, all right, Sanji, I love you very much. I am very simple in when it comes to One Piece. If you love and respect and state your respect and love and willingness to protect Luffy and his dream, I'm going to forgive a lot of things. So Sanji's more or less going forward this series with a clean slate from my perspective, and anytime he does something terrible, in my opinion, all he has to do is say, Luffy is my captain, he is going to be king of the pirates, and all is forgiven. You just have to repeat that to me a couple times to remind me of how much I love you because you are a Straw Hat. Alright, originally Luffy is actually pretty excited that Sanji's going to get married. He's probably just thinking, hey, married, banquet, feast, let's go enjoy the party. But then they explain if Sanji gets married, then that means best/worst case scenario, the Straw Hats would be working under Big Mom. And Luffy's just like, no, if anything, Big Mom's going to be working under me. And they're like, no, that's not what's going to happen. Really, Sanji just won't be a Straw Hat. And Luffy's just like, no, he's part of my crew. She can't have him. And they're talking about alliances and this organization that Sanji's father is running, 66, whatever it's called. Apparently some supposedly mythical secrets. People don't think it's actually real army. And Luffy's just like, I don't care about any of that. So I'm just going to go get Sanji back. And they're explaining you can't just walk into a emperor's hideout and cause a ruckus like this. It gotta be a stealth mission. He's like, fine, still going to go get him. Alright, so repeatedly through this arc, we are told that the Straw Hats do not want the Minks to know that they have any relationship with any of the samurai of Kinemon and Kanjuro, just because they think that the Minks are going to have a real big grudge against the samurai because that's the reason that their home was destroyed. That Jack came and was looking for this ninja from Wano, the samurai from Wano, named Raizo, who was the catalyst for the destruction of their home. So they had told like Luffy, do not mention the samurai, do not mention Wano, it's going to be a really sore subject. So while a banquet is going on, they're celebrating and everything that's happening. Robin and Brooke and Frankie, I think, all stay at the main gate thinking they'll intercept Kinemon and Kanjiro when they finally make it to the top, except they fall asleep. So the two samurais walk into the city in time to see the Dog and Cat Kings fighting, just because they have a grudge where if they see each other, they fight. So they were on these 6-hour separate time zone lines things, so they never had to see each other. So they end up seeing each other. They're fighting. They're trying to kill each other. Kinemon goes up to them and is just like, what the hell are you two doing? Why are you fighting? Stop this. I'm Kinemon from Wano, of this clan. And he's announcing his presence. Usopp is trying to get him away and hide him. And it's just like, you idiot, you don't understand. We don't want this conflict. The minks look at them and they're walking towards them, not saying a word. Nami turns to Luffy and is just like, Luffy, we gotta do something. And Luffy's just like, yeah, I gotta. And he's walking up and flanked by the rest of the Straw Hats, and they're just like, are we fighting? Are we fighting? And stupid me, because I do not trust Oda as much as I should have at this point, is thinking, what a stupid conflict for this to happen. Like, you can't blame the samurai for what Jack did. It doesn't make sense. And the Dog King and the Cat King, we get flashbacks of them being tortured by Jack on that cross, or the X thing, and the Dog King lost his arm, his leg. The Cat King had lost his arm. There's blood and tears in their eyes in these flashbacks as they're being savaged and tortured, all because they did not know where this ninja Raizo was. And then when we're at the center of the square area and it's about to turn into a fight, everyone, the Cat King, the Dog King, every mink that had come behind them, drop down and sit before them, tears in their eyes. And it's like, samurai warriors from Wano, we have been expecting you. Raizo is safe. And I'm just in absolute shock at that twist. They allowed everything to happen. Their home, of the thousands of years of history of their home, to be destroyed. The slaughter of their people and the torture they underwent. Claiming they did not know where the samurai was, only for it to be revealed that not only did they know where he was and that he was there, they were protecting him and keeping him safe. And it wasn't just like the two kings who had agreed among themselves and their counselors that we need to protect this one. It was everyone. It was every single mink on this island who knew that he was there, because they were all going back and feeding him, and they all very clearly reacted the same way in going up and sitting before Kinemon, that Raizo was alive, there and being sheltered on Zao. And I am in shock at the loyalty to these people. And every Straw Hat's in utter shock. I watched this moment in the anime, and yes, those reactions and faces, both in the anime and manga, captured my expression perfectly. I'm in utter shock. And I had to like put the manga down for a second, and I'm just like, what the hell just happened? And then we're not done with the twist. Momonosuke, he comes out, and he had been hiding in his room, and the Straw Hats had interpreted that previously as him not liking the minks. But really, he, I don't know, just didn't like seeing the idea of them fighting. I'm not sure why he was in his room for so long. It doesn't matter. He comes out, and he is angry at the Cat and Dog Kings for fighting. And he's just like, my father would be ashamed. You guys are such good friends. Why are you fighting now among yourselves? And they kneel and bow before him. And it's like, I'm like, it clicked like 0.5 of a second before it was revealed that he is not Kinemon's son. He is the son and heir to the kingdom of Wano from Odin, who is like not really the king of the country, but the samurai, the clan. The clan is really big, and everyone is just shocked at this revelation that explains why he's a spoiled brat. And Luffy is just like, I don't care if you're the son of someone important. I don't care if you're an heir. You're still a little kid. And they get into a fight. And it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. So they go to the sacred forest and the whale tree to meet with Raizo. And we're hearing voices again, but we'll get to that later. And we see him chained to a poneglyph, which is my favorite aspect of the series, is the poneglyphs. And he's just like, someone tell me what's going on. Why is everyone who's coming to bring me food been injured? Is someone after me? Give me over. I don't want you to be suffering for me. They had to chain this man up so he wouldn't give himself over. And I love it so very much. All right, so we learned that this red poneglyph is actually like a road or map that's with 4 other poneglyphs will send you to the final island where supposedly, I'm assuming the One Piece is of, what's the name of this island? Starts with an R. Rafateru. The comment section had called it Laughing Tail, and I'm going to go with that because I can pronounce that. So Robin is translating the poneglyph, and she's like, it's a location to an island. And the Cat and Dog King both explain that the red poneglyphs are the road poneglyphs. And each one, there's 4 of them, will direct you to an island. Laughing Tail, that final island, will be in the intersection of all 4. One of those poneglyphs are lost. We obviously have one here. The other 2 are in possession by Big Mom and Kaido. And Luffy's like, well, that's convenient. I need to go get Sanji from Big Mom. So I'll take a rubbing of that poneglyph and bring it back to Robin. And they also explain that these poneglyphs were created in Wano by the clan who Momonosuke is in charge of. And there's this whole thing with his father had been killed on the order of the shogun, king, I guess, of that country, as well as Kaido for reasons. And he just wanted to open up the borders to the rest of the world. So that is why Kinemon and Kanjuro and the rest of the samurai are working towards to avenge their leader and open up the borders, and also to protect Momonosuke. There's also, I think they were killed because they used to know the history and information and knowledge about poneglyphs, but that knowledge ended with Oden and was never passed down to his son Kinemon. Not Kinemon, Momonosuke. So there's something going on there, lots of stuff going on. They also looked at Robin as just being like, because you know how to read these poneglyphs, there are going to be some big players coming after you in the future. And Robin, the cheerful little angel that I love her so very much, just smiles. And it's just like, that's okay. I have strong friends to protect me. And I love that moment because everyone's so bashful and just like, oh, shucks, of course we're going to protect you. You don't have to butter us up. And meanwhile, Nami's just there like, if anyone ever touches or lays a finger on Robin, I will take their life and their money. And I love it. It's wonderful. Always protect Robin. Protect Robin at all cost. And we're about to celebrate because the pirates and the samurai and the minks are all going to form an alliance because La has also showed up and has agreed, yeah, it'll work together to take down Kaido. We'll gain other forces. Side note, I'm loving La more because when he reunited with his crew, they were all so excited to see him. The bear navigator, Beepo, he jumped on him and was hugging him, and it was so cute, and I love them because they love La, so he's a good captain, and his crew loves him. That's all I need. He's also still friends with Luffy. All I need. I also meant to mention another La moment because they had said if we anger Kaido and Big Mom, that'll bring more trouble here, and the minks being like, are we sure these guys are pirates just because like they're worried about us and bringing danger to us? They're so nice. I love La so very much. But Luffy, upon hearing the idea of this alliance, is just like, no, I don't want to. And Usopp is just like, are you insane? This is a great alliance. We need the strength and support. Have some common sense here. And Luffy turns to Momonosuke and is just like, you're apparently a big deal in charge of all these people, and you're having everyone talk for you. What do you have to say for this? And everyone's just like, he's a child. He's not meant to make these decisions. It's perfectly reasonable for his advisors and support to be making these decisions for him. And Momonosuke looks at Luffy, and this little bratty child walks up and is in tears. And he kneels before Luffy, explaining he has watched his father die, his mother die. He wants to go back to his country to avenge them, and he wants Kaido dead, and he needs this alliance, and he's begging Luffy for his help. And Luffy's just like, all right, I got you. Let's do this alliance. And he gives his hand to fist bump or something, but Momonosuke just grabs it and like holds it to his face. I'm just like, oh my god, my love. And it's wonderful. It is wonderful. There's going to be a party in celebration of this alliance, only for Jack the pirate to come back. But instead of attacking and climbing up the elephant to go attack them, they attack the elephant. So they're hitting it on its legs, and this is a 1,000-year-old elephant that's about to be brought down along with the rest of the Zawa as a whole. And I love these people, so they're not allowed to do that. And then Luffy and Momonosuke are both hearing the voices again. And we learn that this elephant has actually been prisoner to walk forever for some ancient crime. And it's asking for permission to be released so it can fight and defend itself. Luffy can hear him, but it doesn't seem like he can have a conversation with him back. He doesn't hear him, so he turns to Momonosuke and is just like, tell him that it's okay. Tell him to attack. So Momonosuke is just like, all right, elephant, protect us. Do not let Zhao sink. Save it. Fight back. Save us. And the elephant, this terrifying looking beast, turns around and one swipe of his trunk levels Jack's forces and is beautiful. I love it. But I'm more concerned with the idea, or more focused on the idea that Momonosuke can talk to this elephant similar to the way that the Mermaid Princess could talk to the Neptunians and the Sea Kings. And while the Sea Kings seem to be very independent, this elephant is more in service too. And both are in locations with poneglyphs. Both can communicate with creatures that others can't and can hear the voices. I can only assume it has something to do with the ancient weapons. So the Pluton, there's the Pluton, there's the Poseidon, and whatever the Sky King one is. Uranus. How did I forget Uranus? Anyway, regardless. So I'm going with the Uranus one. Possibly on Zhao. Maybe. I feel like there gotta be some kind of connection between this and what we learned about the Poseidon being the Mermaid Princess. Before we go next, this city has also been around for 1,000 years. And we are wondering what the elephant is walking towards, or in my prediction, away from. I'm assuming it started in the Void Century when they knew they were about to be destroyed. They packed everything up and put on top of the elephant, and it's just like, get out of here. You're our only escape. We can't be tracked, so let's go. And hey, keep all this history, but that history has since been forgotten throughout the ages. So I'm assuming there's some connection with the Void Century there, because coincidentally, it's 1,000 years old. It gotta be related in some way. Oh my god, so much was happening at the end. Also revealed that the Cat King and the Dog King were both members of Gold Roger's crew, along with the old man guy that we left with Laboon back at the beginning when we first entered the Grand Line. So they also were originally with my beloved Whitebeard pirate. So I love these minks so very much. So Momonosuke's father was also a member of Gold Roger's crew and had made it to Laughing Tail, Laugh Tail, but the End Island. And it's really putting a bug in wrench in the story idea that I have for Roger being the big end bad. It's very hard to make him the big bad when he has such lovable crew members. I'm going to need to do some memory manipulation to keep him being the big bad. Regardless. So everyone is assigned a certain role. Luffy is going to go to get Sanji back from Big Mom with the help of Chopper and Nami, and he also gets joined by a jaguar mink and Carrots, the bunny mink from earlier. The Cat King is going to go in search of Marco, and everyone else, Zoro and the group, are going to head to Wano. Momonosuke is going to stay on the elephant in Zhao to see if he can learn what these voices are and what it all means and the history that's been forgotten. We also get news brought in that Dragon's fortress, the revolutionary base, had been discovered because they had accidentally brought the Blackbeard pirates in, and he was able to signal to Blackbeard the location. When they came up, everything was destroyed. At the same time, Dragon had been calling all the leaders to the location for an important meeting. So we don't know who's dead or alive, but it's very heavily implied that both Dragon and Sabo are perfectly fine, or else it would have been in the newspaper. And Luffy is far more concerned about his brother's safety than his father. He kind of forgot that was his father for a while. Side note, I think the article said like a unnamed source had led the Navy to find this location, only for it to be too late that Blackbeard pirates had already attacked. So I'm assuming Kuzan. I'm assuming that our ice guy has not actually betrayed us and he's a double agent, so I will temporarily remove him from my list. He is on hold. I do not like him for joining the Blackbeard pirates, but if he's undercover in Blackbeard's crew, that makes sense. So he's on hold on my list. There were so many things about this arc that I loved. I know I don't talk about the cover stories too often, but these had some of my favorite cover stories just because it's showing everyone reacting to the new bounties, like everyone back home, so Luffy's home village, which was my favorite, and then Nami's, and we see Vivi, and she's looking gorgeous, hearing about the bounties, and she's excited because her family are going off to that meeting that happens every 4 years where all the world leaders get together. We're going to probably learn more information about why her royal family was the one group that held out and didn't become like the world government celestial dragon stuff. We get cut to later on in the story with the princess of Fishman Island, and they're going to go to the meeting to talk about possible migrations and the will of their mother. And it's all just so wonderful. And then at the end, it's just wrapping up. Because I mentioned the beginning, they were like, Nami, come save us. We don't have a navigator. We're going to drown. The ship is not going to make it to Zhao. And then it ends with Luffy trying to cook and not knowing how to ration. So he destroys everything. Like, it's barely edible food, and he uses it all, so they're all going to starve on their journey now to get to Big Mom. And it's just like, Sanji, come save us. And it's just wonderful. I love it so very much. This is my second favorite arc, just because nothing can top Marineford. I say that knowing perfectly well that Oda is going to do something to traumatize me and shake me to my core that results in me loving something more than Marineford. I don't know how that would be possible, but it's going to happen. And I love this series so very much. All right, I'm going to jump into the questions that are in the community post, because this has been a wild, wild ride, and I need to know what everyone thought about it. All right, so I don't know if you caught it back in Sabadi at the slave house. They show a list of pricing for different people groups, and one of them was the minx. So, because of course Oda is perfect at foreshadowing these little things. And that they are also an arc where we see Bepo the first time. So it was. I love that bear. He's so cute. I love him. So after learning about the road poneglyphs, how does it feel to be approaching the end? I don't want it to end. One Piece is not allowed to end. Like, that's a little bit heartbreaking. But to know that we are in the direction of a conclusion, whereas before we were just setting up the world and the characters and the journey, is a lot. Like, it isn't just a dream anymore. The crew is literally getting directions to the last island. Kind of surreal, right? That is a very good way of putting it. Definitely surreal that there is an end goal in the future. I don't know when we'll get there, but we have a destination. We have not the log post yet, but we are approaching it. While you aren't up to date and One Piece isn't even finished, assuming a similar level of quality remains, would you go along with the idea that One Piece as a story is on par with all other greats in history? Not only would I go along with that, I would argue that all other greats in history are comparable to One Piece, because One Piece is fantastic. It is comparable to nothing. It is just wonderful. Yes. To me, treating One Piece as a manga rather than a masterful epic and peak human creativity that feels incredibly devaluing. Is it flawless? Absolutely not. Is it even done? No. It is truly one of the most magnificent stories a person has ever created. Most definitely. Talk about how good Corazon is. Yes, like, the characters of this manga are just, all of them are wonderful. And to say that this story isn't one of the greats because it is a manga is definitely cannot be said, because this is just the medium that the story is presented in. and it is wonderful. It is one of the greats, yes. The characters, the plot, the story, the foreshadowing, the world building, the themes and symbolism, references to real world history and politics and struggles, everything about One Piece is fantastic. I do have my mild complaints, but they're nothing that overrides how wonderful it is. I got a theory that Ryunosuke is a key player to unlock the secrets of the One Piece. Once he shows up, he really carries the series on his back. Yes, totally. I do like him just being a reference to the destroyed gate. Without question. What, if any, are your impressions and expectations for Kaido's crew after having seen them, Jack and his underlings? Do you have any expectations for the crew of the Emperors? I'm just going with they are terrified of this man, and this man is very rash and emotional, and they don't know what's going to happen when he gets upset, because he's apparently a very sad drunk and then a very angry drunk. The rest of the crew, I'm just going with brutal and beast-shaping Zoan creatures. I don't have too much to go with. I know Jack was on the bottom of the seafloor with sharp, spiky teeth, so he's probably like fishman related. And probably other creatures as well. Not really sure what's going to happen with the rest of the crew, though, or what to expect from them. Having finished Zhao, how do you feel about the Minks and their dedication to protect Raizo? Oh my god, that hit me hard. The Raizo is safe moment is one of my top 5 moments in the series. I think it's my number 2. I think it might be topping Robin's I Want to Live. That hurts me to say, but I think it does. The willingness to sacrifice an entire nation to save one individual is one of the greatest displays of friendship I have ever seen across all fiction. I agree, and all that brutal torture flashbacks really sealed the deal of what they were sacrificing in protecting him. And the Cat King being just like, we would never sell out a comrade, or we would never sell out a friend. Never give them over to an enemy, no matter the cost. Oh my god, it was beautiful. In case you didn't talk about it, how do you feel about Sanji, especially before starting Whole Cake Island? I have forgiven many things just because he stated outright his dedication to Luffy, even though he's expressed it many times in his actions, Thriller Bark being the biggest example, but oh god, his treatment as a character recently, I'm just a lot to forgive, but he's starting with a clean slate for me right now, just like your dedication to Luffy washes away all sins and crimes. I love it. I love it so very much. Zoro mentions that it's selfish for him to engage another Yonko while they're facing Kaido. It's a very Zoro moment and thing to say. He's also probably a little ticked that Sanji just left the crew the same way that he was ticked at Usopp for doing it, but he's also very protective and worried, like he was waiting outside the door when they were explaining all this, and when they come out, it's just like, you're worried about Sanji, aren't you? He's like, no. You know he's worried. So I did like that moment with Zoro, and he is right in the sense that it's a bad idea for him to get another Yonko mad at them, but at the same time, I feel it was mostly just deflecting anger in another direction, and yeah. So fun fact, in the anime, Brooks sings a song about Cat Viper, and the song has some history. Brooks, voice actor, had the cat name Nico Man Mushi. I can almost pronounce that. In real life, that unfortunately passed away, so he and his wife wrote the song as a tribute for the kitty. Oda loved the song so much he named the cat Viper after said cat, which is adorable, which comes full circle in the anime. Okay, I will listen to that song. While reading at this pace, did you ever have any idea or inclination that these silly samurai characters would be directly connected to the emotional conflict of Wano and were directly involved with the events of the upcoming arc and arcs of the villains? I figured that they were going to play a big role, and I know Oda likes his setup and foreshadowing, so I knew that they would be involved earlier on, but I mostly knew they were going to play a role because I knew Wano existed. If I was reading this week to week, not knowing Wano was coming up in the future, and like I've seen that it's heavily inspired by probably like Japanese art styles and customs, so I figured, and they're from that location. So the fact I know we're getting to their home, yeah, I knew they were going to become bigger players, but that is because I'm reading in bulk arc by arc, knowing the titles of what's coming. If I was reading week to week, I probably wouldn't know what kind of players they would be in the long run, or how they would set up current and future arcs. Ooh, I didn't mention Nami's weapon upgrade. Zao question, how do you feel about Nami's weapon upgrade? I love it when she gets a weapon upgrade. I don't really want her to ever get a devil fruit. I like the fact that she uses her knowledge and navigational skills and understanding of weather patterns, and she's just like, I want a magic wand. So Usopp makes her one. I like how it extends. I like how she's able to take people out, and it's just her own strength, and she has to have the knowledge to how to use it. I really, really love Nami in terms of the fighting skills she has. She doesn't need to be an overpowered, with the other main fighters of the crew. She has her own unique style, can take care of herself, and I love that for her. I really love anytime she gets a little bit of a power upgrade. Also, how would you feel if the giant elephant, was a real giant elephant walking somewhere in the World Sea? I would dedicate my life to finding this creature, and I'd be just staring at it from a very, 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 very far distance with the best binoculars in the world, and I'd just be like, that is terrifying and awesome, because there is nothing that scares me more than the ocean. I love the water. I do. I grew up on a fishing community fishing community, so I'm always by the water. But and that elephant was creepy as hell with its hollowed out eyes. So combine my love of the water, which is terrifying, and this monster horror looking elephant, which is also terrifying. Like, we're going up above how cool Cthulhu would be and how terrifying Cthulhu would be if that was real. So yes, would love that in the real world, in the same sense that it'd be terrifying to live in a world where that creature existed. I might be happier in our world where terrifying creatures like that exist in Australia, and that's it. Obviously kidding. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. Thank you for bringing it up. What are your thoughts about how Momo supposedly met Roger? Okay, so he had said that, hey, I've met Roger, but I'm too young to really remember him. And Luffy's like, you liar, he's been dead for 20-odd years. And Momo, who had also said that, hey, Dog and Cat, stop fighting, you were such good friends, why are you fighting? My theory is that, do I need my tinfoil hat? Okay, the theory is that Momonosuke is either A, much, much, much older than we're actually led to believe, or that the country of Wano or the royal family there or something have the ability to pass along memories, and maybe ancestral memories, or maybe something that has to do with hockey, probably, to take the knowledge from past generations to give to the current ones. And that's how he knows or has a memory of Roger and a memory of the cat and dog being friends. I realize it's probably just his parents had told him stories about Zhao and the dog and cat, and stories about their time with Roger, and not this. But I think it's more fun that he has knowledge of past lives and or is half immortal. Maybe he's the one that is immortal from the apap fruit that La has, and he doesn't remember that he's immortal. That is the one example of amnesia I think might actually work with me. That they're immortal and just can't remember because they've lived so long, and at one point they lost some memories. I will accept that. It was a good thing I put on the tinfoil hat when I started talking. Did you like Brooke's song? I just read in the manga. I will be reading listening to it online later. Lastly, did you love Ryunosuke? I did. I really did. And again, I liked recognizing the name of an author that I can connect to that beat up gate, which just seemed nice. But Ryunosuke I might be pronouncing that half right, maybe. Just him working so hard to climb up the elephant's leg, and he's in pain, probably because he's drawn so badly, and just fighting and climbing, and everyone cheering him on, and him being so happy, and then finally disappearing at the end. It was so cute. He was a good addition. I liked him. He was adorable. What do you think of the plot twist of Raizo being alive? Shook me to my actual core. Did not see that for a second. And I loved it. Like, I read, like, I don't know, I think I read like 50 odd thrillers last year, and there's a lot of half-decent plot twists in those. This topped all of them. Like, I love this so very much. It will be my second favorite plot twist. I'm currently rereading The Kind Worth Killing, and that has my favorite plot twist in it. But Raizo being alive definitely hit harder than that one, and emotionally traumatized me. God love these people, the loyalty they have. Do you find that the media you consume is different from types? An example being, I don't really enjoy war movies, but when it comes to novel about war, I'm invested way more. Do you value different genres more depending on the media type? That's actually a really good question. So I've been saying forever that I cannot find a novel book kind of thing of space horror that I like. So I read Your Mind is a Terrible Place or something like that, and it's space horror. If this was a movie, I would love it. I love movies that's in space, that's horror, like Alien or anything like that. It's wonderful, but in a novel, it just doesn't work for me. I don't think I value one medium over the other. I normally prefer, like, say, TV shows over movies because you get more adaptation, more time to expand these things. It doesn't have to be condensed into just like a couple hour runtime. But novelizations versus movies or anything like that, I don't think I have a preference really if one being more highly valued to me. I get enjoyment out of all of them regardless. I think I probably do like manga more than novels just because the images to go along with the story can hit me harder. But that being said, if I'm immersed in a novel, then that'll hit me just as hard. And a lot of the times the anime I'll probably like more than the manga just because the voice acting and the emotion and the sound is just adds a different layer to it. But it's just, I like different aspects of different media. I don't think there's any genre that I would prefer in one form of media over the other. The only one that comes to mind is, like I said, space horror, because I'm actively looking for a book that is space horror that I enjoy, and I can't find one. But pretty much any movie that is space horror, I love. So some elements probably work better with visual medium versus a written form. That being said, I would probably like a space horror manga, so that's something now I have to look into. Did you see the Raizo is safe moment coming? No, I did not. No, I did not. At all. Not for a second. I'm an idiot. But I'm pretty sure it's because of the panel that had said, what would you do when we're being tortured and all this is happening? And you don't have the answer to give them. You don't have what the torturer wants. Like, what are you supposed to do? I think it's because of that panel. I didn't suspect it at all. Since Punk Hazard all the way to Dressrosa, some readers feel like One Piece is really the Law plus Straw Hat show. I would not complain, because Law is apparently wonderful as well. Even though they like Law, Law did overshadow the Straw Hat since he carried the emotional narrative. I think I just like that idea of the Straw Hats don't have to be the only focus. If the world revolved around the Straw Hats, it would be very contrived, like they are the center of this world, so it makes sense that other people have their own narratives, and it just makes the story feel very much more fleshed out and more immersive because you know that there's other things going on in the background, and it's not just the Straw Hats being the only story that's important to this world. Do you agree with the sentiment? So, no, I don't feel like the Law overshadowed them so much as they brought themselves into his narrative, and the second that he became a friend, what was important to him became important to them. So I like that about the series. Feelings of La post Rosa. I like that his immediate response was to go find his crew, and them immediately being so happy that he was alive, and it's very clear that he expected to die in Dressrosa. And he didn't want to bring his crew into that kind of danger, so that just really shows how much he cares about his crew. And then again, like, we don't want to bring Kaido onto Zao. Zao. God knows how I've been saying this. Then them just being like, oh, how kind of you to only be thinking of us. Oh, so good. I love La. I really do. Have you noticed how creative Luffy's been with his powers throughout the entire run? Definitely. I've said before that how you use the devil fruit that you have is what makes you powerful. Some of these devil fruits probably wouldn't be as strong as they were if they weren't in the hands of a capable user who can use their imagination to make them more efficient and effective than anyone could ever hope that they could be. You forgot the panel where Law was crying in front of the dead classmates and the nun that advised him leave, but ended up being killed by the kingdom. I did mention that they were going to leave with them, and I thought they were the ones who were killed, but I wasn't 100% sure if that was almost like a dream or if it was just other people he was seeing. But yeah, no, confirmed. Law witnessed the massacre of everybody he knew and everyone he thought would get away safely. That was traumatizing. I also didn't mention when he was talking to Sengoku and they were talking about the Will of D, and I think, was it Sengoku had said, like, don't look for reasons for why someone loves you. Like, it had nothing to do with the Will of D. It was just Corazon loved you. There doesn't need to be a reason. And I'm so good. I told you a while back that in Dressrosa might bring up another possible person for your tattoo. The person I meant was Corazon. So my first question would be if I was correct. He is a contender. I'm also possibly thinking of La, just because if I have pain on the back of my leg and he is the one who destroyed spoilers for Naruto. Does anyone not know how that plot goes? I feel pop culture osmosis would give all this away. But that being said, I survived all these years without knowing anything about One Piece. Somehow I've avoided that. So Pain destroys a village for what happened to his home. And he's just inflicting pain and trauma and anguish on everyone around him, thinking that they'll all be united in their suffering and that'll bring peace. While La was witness to the death of his entire home, the same way Pain kind of did. And originally, he kind of had a similar mentality as, I want to put as much pain out into the world and kill as many people as I can before I die, though his goal was not to bring peace. But instead, eventually he was able to let go of the anger and the hatred and the pain and find a family and be loved. And he ended up becoming a doctor, and now he has his own crew and people to protect. So the similar start points but diverging storylines. I do like that idea. Corazon also works with this narrative-ish, as he had his family, if not his entire home, killed or destroyed or manipulated, and he found a new home, and then in his death. So it's definitely a possibility. I might just do both. My legs are small. I don't have the room for two characters. I will figure it out. He is a contender, yes. What do you think about that one scene in Zao, the he is safe one? Yes, so good. For me, it's probably one of the most impactful scenes at this point of the story and just made me love the Minx so freaking much. Yes, yes, and yes. What are your thoughts and theories relating to stuff and Momo being able to hear the elephant? Yeah, I think it's, like I said, something about playing in with the same way that happens in Fishman Island and the ancient weapons. I don't know how it's going to be connected, but that is my thought. I'm also leaning towards, now I like the idea, previously stated, that Momo was the one who was made immortal and has lost his memories. I am a hypocrite. I normally don't like amnesia, and that is how he's remembering things, and also a connection somehow with the hearing voices. And the way that Roger also did it. No, I'm not going to go crazy enough to say that Momo was also on Roger's crew. We're not saying that. The tinfoil hat is not big enough for that theory. So, theories exist. Not sure how the hearing voices between what happened here and Fishman Island are going to play a role, but I would be shocked if it was not connected in the same way, which means I'm leaning towards something to do with the ancient weapons, and one of the ancient weapons being on Zao, or I guess technically maybe where the elephant was walking away from, or walking towards. Maybe the elephant is walking towards the ancient weapon. Maybe. Do you think Zao will be the place Chopper will stay if the crew disbands? I think if the crew disbands, he's going to go be on an island with one of the other crew members. I know people like him and Zoro, their relationship, so maybe he'll just hang out and be the dojo doctor kind of thing in the village wherever he settles down. Not sure. There's the possibility. He would get along very well there, though. Like, no one would probably be calling him a raccoon. I could see him selling down there. That'd be good. Okay, I am bad, and I actually responded to one of these questions when they popped up. I'm supposed to not be reading these when they pop up. But apparently I didn't know it was connected to this post. Thank God it was for Desrosa, so nothing was spoiled. So the question was, the part where Doofy said the executives are the only family he has left had me intrigued. Do you think Doflamingo generally cares for his crew, or is it a manipulative tactic? And my response was essentially being, mostly because I was talking about this with another commenter, so I think that's why I thought it was in that original thread on that video, because I was already having this conversation. Right now, I think he misses having people around him like he did when he lived it with the Celestial Dragons, and he loves the idea of being loved. I think he wants to be part of a family, wants to rule a kingdom, and have people love him, but he's also too narcissistic and manipulative to actually love anyone. But I do think he cares about those who care about him. He might also view them as something he owns and won't let anyone hurt or make fun of them because of that. And I stand by that statement. Thoughts on Robin's super dark and edgy humor? I love her. I love the morbid humor. Yes. Being just like, oh, yeah, they might have been eaten, they might have been cannibalized, oh, they could all be dead. We see it in Punk Hazard, she had some comments like, this is my type of humor. I love Robin. How do you rank Doflamingo on your villain tier list? That's something I need to rethink about. So, Blackbeard's going near the top because he is attacking the Whitebeard pirates. I don't remember if I mentioned that. Yeah, Marco and them are more or less in hiding because the Whitebeard pirates have been attacked by Blackbeard. So he's now number 1. Magma Bastard is probably number 2. I'll put Doflamingo at 3 for the time being. I think thoughts may change because the son of Whitebeard is dishonoring his name. So I don't know what to think about that. We're going to reevaluate him soon. What do you think the elephant's crime was for why he's still walking? One of the comments in here had stated what the crime was, and I don't know if that was a theory or not, so don't know if I'm spoiled for that, but originally no idea what the crime was. My original sort of thought was that it was working with whatever eventually formed into the world government that we have today. Their ancestors attacked the Void Century place, that civilization that's been wiped off the map. The elephant was working with the other ones, and in its crime was attacking the Void Century location, so they took him over and forced him to walk away from Void Century place that has been destroyed. Not really sure. Vague ideas. Who's your favorite character in One Piece and why is it Ryunosuke? Words are so hard, and that one should not be hard. That one looks very simple to pronounce. Okay, yeah, he's very cute. But honest answer, Whitebeard. Whitebeard is my favorite. My darling love. Love of my life. I love Whitebeard so very much. Luffy is a very close second. No, he's not. Yeah, he's probably a close second. Outside of Straw Hats and outside of Whitebeard's entire crew. And I'd probably have to just say the Minks in general for the twist moment of this. I love the Minks, just all of them. Their willingness to die for a friend, to be tortured and die for their friends. I love them so very much. Expectations for Sanji after Zhao. I have no idea what Sanji's going to be up to. Again, I'm assuming he's going to look for whoever helped him escape from the north to get him out of this wedding. I assume he's going to have to fight his family. I assume we're getting family drama. I'm excited to see if he's marrying a good person or a bad person. We got an image of her at the end. She looks very sweet. I know nothing about her. She's one of Big Mom's daughters. Maybe she's looking for an escape, and it'll be, hey, I escaped from my crazy family. Let me help escape from your crazy family. Not really sure. Expectations for Momo moving forward. I like the idea of him being immortal and having memories that he thought that he can barely remember. He's got these vague memories, maybe because he's been immortal and he has so many memories that some memories are replacing the old. Like, I think I read a story once where the mind has a limit, and if you actually became immortal, you couldn't retain all these memories. This is a stupid idea, and I like it. Expectations for Momo moving forward. Honest answer is probably going to be something along the lines of him just hero's journey, becoming more powerful, learning to control his devil fruit. Originally I just thought people were coming after him because he had this particular devil fruit, the man-made one by the doctor from Punk Hazard's Vagabond guy, and it was probably the closest to a mythical Zoan type fruit that a human has made. And I thought that's why they were going after him. I don't know if the dragon transformation thing is ever going to come into play really, or if I'm sure he'll get his own transformations as his dragon fruit becomes awakened. But yeah, I'm just excited to see where he goes and how his character develops. Theories surrounding the elephant, I do think he came from the place that was destroyed during the Void Century, and he's walking away, so I'm assuming either one of the ancient weapons is on it or he's heading towards it. I like the idea more of him heading towards it. Why didn't Kanjuro just make wing creatures to fly up the elephants? Weird, right? Yes, it's very weird, but at the same time, he probably couldn't draw a creature that could survive and fly that long. How surreal was it, the reveal that the roe poneglyph was for you? How do you feel about Robin's goal tied with Luffy's, as well as now the existence of these? Yes, no, I love the poneglyphs are my favorite part of the story. I really, 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 truly love in a story with a strong narrative focus. I'm usually not the biggest fan of like a meandering plot line. I want something driving the series forward. So the poneglyphs and the history and the mystery surrounding them has always been my favorite part. And now that we've tied that into they're going to lead us to the final island and location where Gold Rogers had been to put the One Piece, that is absolutely perfect for me. That works so well because now we have the main focus of the series, which is just adventures, island, Pirate King, tied in with the mystery of the Void Century and the history of the world. It just works perfectly for me. Last one, thoughts on Sanji's sudden decision to leave the crew. I'm fine with it because clearly there's a secret that Buddy whispered in his ear. We have family drama. We have something going on there. And he says he's going to be back. So he didn't say, I'm leaving the crew, don't come find me. He just said, I got some stuff to take care of. I got a woman I got to talk to. I'll be back. I'm coming back. So I did enjoy that. All right, that is what I got from this arc. I am in love. It is perfect. I will talk to you later.